We thank the organisers, the fathers, the musicians last night at the social, and no doubt there'll be more music later on, and the faithful for coming from afar. And it's also wonderful to see so many new faces here. I don't know you all very well because I'm not very often in Ireland, but I do know that there are lots of new faces, and so that's wonderful news. You're most welcome. Now today we're here to talk about the sacred liturgy, which is the official means by which the Church, the mystical body of Christ on earth, worships God. It is the way that Christ worships the Trinity, the Godhead, in his church. There's a wonderful book by Eugene Boylan called This Tremendous Lover. If you haven't read it, really is a great read for the spiritual life. And he concludes the book in leading a soul to become filled with the divine life. It's to be so intensely participating in the divine life, so intensely a member of the mystical body of Christ, and that he becomes Christ. And he said the whole purpose of God entering into his creation was to draw creation back to himself, so that ultimately there will be one Christ, one mystical body of Christ, one Christ worshipping himself. And this is done specifically through the liturgy. Now, the liturgy is defined are the official means or words or gestures by which the Church gives divine worship. And it's defined in the books, the liturgical books, primarily the Roman Missal for the Mass, and then the Pontifical for all the pontifical ceremonies, and also the ritual for all of the sacraments, the other sacraments, and the sacramentals as well. And also the Martyrology details all the lives of the martyrs. So these are the books, the treasures of the Church, and in which the liturgy is defined. And Archbishop Lefebvre, seeing that close relationship between our faith, what we believe, and how we manifest that faith in our relationship with God and the way we worship God, he puts right at the top of the statutes, which are the constitutions of the society, the finality of praying the liturgy with the greatest perfection possible. So let me just read, it's only one paragraph from the statutes. The society the society's members will have a true and continual devotion towards their Holy Mass, towards its halo, the liturgy. The Mass is a part of the liturgy, it's the central part of the liturgy. And towards everything in the liturgy which expresses the mystery that is accomplished in it. They will seek to leave nothing undone in preparing spiritually and materially for the sacred mysteries. A profound theological knowledge of the sacrifice of the Mass will convince them ever more firmly that in this sublime event is realized all revelation, the mystery of faith, the completion of the mysteries of the incarnation and redemption, the whole effectiveness of the apostolate. Let me read that again. That's profound. The members should have a profound theological knowledge of the sacrifice of the Mass, and this will convince them ever more firmly that in this sublime event is realized all of revelation, the mystery of faith, the completion of the mysteries of the incarnation and redemption, the whole effectiveness of the apostolate. This is why the liturgy is so important to us. It is the public manifestation of our faith, our belief, the reality of God. Now, the great crisis, of course, that came about, was crystallized in the Second Vatican Council, was a fundamental disconnection between the truths of the faith and the way we worship. Now, we all know why that happened, because a new theology was introduced into the church, a false theology was introduced into the church, and then the new Mass and all of the other new liturgy reflects this false theology which has entered into the church. So by holding on to the old liturgy, the faithful will be brought to their minds the true doctrine of the church. And that's why we must hold on to it. But also we must hold on to the true doctrine of the church so that we're not just going through the motions of a liturgy which have no meaning. So the two goes together. There must be fidelity to the doctrine and fidelity to the liturgy of the church. And this marks the Society of St. Pius X apart from many other, the Ecclesia Dei communities, for example, who have compromised, they know they've compromised on doctrine so that they can remain canonically regular, so that they can remain at peace with the authorities. It's a very fragile peace, as we see today. No, it's vitally important there is this connection between our belief, theology, the truths of the faith, and the way we worship. The moment there is any dissonance between the two, the whole edifice of the faith and the liturgy is in jeopardy. So I hope the speakers that follow me will elaborate on these ideas and bring you to a great zeal for the faith and a great love of the liturgy. Thank you very much.